right. So, welcome back to another episode of Thinking Outside the Bank, where we are not just talking about creative real estate, but also about how people think differently in life when faced with obstacles. And I'd like to welcome my guest today, a good friend, Adam Colburn, also Owners Club member. So, thanks for having us on, Adam. Thanks for joining us, man.
Absolutely, Trevor. Thanks so much for having me. Appreciate it.
Absolutely, brother. So, I like to start these off and just kind of let my guests introduce themselves, introduce them, kind of what they do on a day-to-day basis, inside real estate, outside of real estate, and then we'll kind of jump off from there.
Sure, yeah. So, like Trevor said, my name's Adam Colburn. I live in Raleigh, North Carolina. Have a wife, three kids. We actually have one on the way, so we'll be a family of four very soon, which is exciting.
Nice.
Um, I currently have a W-2. I'm a maintenance technician at a pharmaceutical company. Transitioning out of that to go full-time into real estate. But my main active income within real estate is wholesale and fix and flips, specifically creative flips, which I'm sure we'll get into during this session here. And then my long-term rentals, I focus on sober living, so transitional housing for people coming out of rehab centers.
Awesome, awesome. I can't wait to dig into all of this. But I'm going to kick it straight off in a realm I think I'm more comfortable in, and I think we both speak the healthcare world at least a little bit. My W-2 is in healthcare as well, and I truthfully, again, prior to this podcast, I did not know that about you. So,
Yeah.
tell me exactly what a pharmaceutical, you said pharmaceutical tech,
Maintenance tech. Yeah.
maintenance tech. D- walk me through what that is. Obviously,
Sure.
pharmaceuticals,
Yep.
but yeah,
Yeah, so I work at a large plant right outside of Raleigh, and they're one of the largest plasma distributors globally. And so, like, plasma therapies is their big kind of moneymaker. And I think it's two-thirds of all plasma come out of our plant in Clayton, North Carolina, tiny little town. You would never
wow,
know that. But yeah, so me specifically, I do maintenance, but it's more like specialized HVAC work, specifically with HEPA air filters. So where
yeah.
drugs are compounded and where the fill lines are, to keep the air clean and aseptic, they use HEPA air filters. And so we have about 8,000 on site. And so there's me and three other guys that test and certify those throughout the year, repair them if there's issues and replace them. We also test on like compressed airlines for labs. And so from like a day-to-day perspective, the job's pretty easy. Maybe 2 to 3 hours of actual work. When things aren't broken, there's nothing to fix, right? And so a lot of my coworkers just go back to their desks and watch cat videos on YouTube, and that's where I'm outside slinging deals. And so
Nice.
the flexibility is there somewhat, but I'm still tied to the campus, right? In case something does go wrong, I have to be kind of on call throughout the day, and even on some weekends, depending on the emergency. And so, more flexibility than most W-2s, but I'm still tied to a W-2, which can pose some challenges with our real estate stuff as we're growing and scaling.
Yeah, for sure. How long have you been there? And I know we talked a little bit about that. That's the job right now. Like you said, that's what pays the bills. But ultimately, I know just like mine, my passion lies in real estate, specifically creative real estate.
Yeah.
How and when did your path with creative real estate start? And how long have you been at your W-2?
Yeah. So I've been there about 5 years. I got into real estate on the investor side about 4 years ago.
Okay.
And so before coming to pharma, I was actually a full-time real estate photographer. And so shot listings for agents and investors, hundreds of houses. Did that full-time for 2 years. And that's kind of where I got the bug for real estate. But yeah, I was at my current W-2 for about 5 years, and stumbled into real estate on the investor side about 4 years ago. And so prior to landing in the pharma space, I was a full-time real estate photographer for about 2 years, shooting listings and a lot of flips for investors here locally. And that's kind of where I got the bug to flip houses, right? Well, always watching Property Brothers and all
Yeah.
the HGTV shows and was super interested in it. But then when I was actually like in these homes, I saw them when they were just crack houses. And 3 months go by, and now they're these beautiful homes that this guy is selling. And this guy was doing 100, 150 a year, like massive volume.
What? Oh my
And
gosh.
so I was like, this looks so fun, but I don't know where he's finding these deals because obviously you don't see these crappy houses on the MLS, and that's
Yeah.
all I know. I don't know how he's funding these deals because at the time my wife and I were still renting our house, like we hadn't purchased a house yet, and so it was just limited mindset, right? I wasn't
Yeah.
ready
Yeah.
just yet, and so that job was awesome. It gave me a lot of flexibility, but our first child, Mason, was born while I was still working there. I transitioned out of the car more into like an operations role, scheduling the other photographers to go out and more like agent relationships, which was cool until it wasn't. And Mason's crawling in there and knocking on the door. And I feel like I'm torn between both worlds, right? I can't be a fully present father because I have to work, but then I'm not a fully present employee because I've got my little son that wants to spend time with dad right outside the door. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I think I need some work-life balance.
Yep.
And so pharma was a past job right out of college, kind of fell back into that space. And that's what I was doing. I work 7 to 3:30. When I leave, I leave. I don't think about this place or the people there, and I can just focus on the family. Right. And so was there for about a year. And then the like yearly reviews or whatever come through. And I'm exceeding in every specific thing that I could possibly be exceeding in, right? Like my coworkers are 20, 30 years older than me. They're capped out. They're looking at their 401ks waiting to retire. They're like, they don't care. And so like obviously I'm young, I'm motivated. I want to move my way up if I'm going to be here. And so naturally just excelling, finishing things way faster than they do and checking all these boxes, but we get to the end of the year and I still get meets expectations.
Jeez.
And I'm like, so I just killed myself for no reason at all. And so I'm like, all right, well, I guess I'm just gonna mail it in like the rest of these fools. And so it was right around that same time frame, our daughter, my second child, Gwen, was born, and she was about 2 or 3 months old. And so I'm having this existential crisis on my couch at 2 in the morning of like, dude, how am I gonna provide
Yeah.
for my family, like the life that they deserve. Like I make decent enough money, but now I can see I only have 2 or 3 ladder rungs to climb. Who knows how long it's going to take to get there because clearly merit doesn't matter with this giant conglomerate of a company. And so I just wanted so much more for myself and for my family than 2 weeks paid vacation and a 401k to accrue that I can't use until I'm 65.
Yep.
Right. And so I start going down the rabbit hole of all kinds of side hustles under the sun. And obviously, photography background. I shot a bunch of weddings, did um, like engagement shoots and stuff like that. And so knew that I could step back into that. But all the money is made on the weekends for the big weddings and stuff. And I want to see my family more, not less. Right. And so I'm like, all right, I got to figure out something else. And so we start going down the rabbit hole of every side hustle imaginable on YouTube. Right. So I started a print on demand t-shirt company. I traded stocks. I did like drop shipping. We did like Shipped and DoorDash, all those things.
Oh yeah.
And so had varying successes, but nothing to really move the needle. And so it was probably, I don't know, 2 or 3 months into this side hustle journey that it's another like late night because I stay up super late. And was on YouTube again and I came across a Jerry Norton video about wholesaling. And so it was, I think the title was like, How I Flipped This Piece of Paper and Made 40 grand. And I was like, no way.
Yeah.
Like, this is a scam for
Scam.
sure.
Yep.
And but I'm like, it's 15 minutes. What do I have to lose? And
Yep.
so I clicked on it, and he starts talking through the whole process of wholesaling about finding this distressed property, putting it under contract, selling it to another investor, and he made 40 grand in the middle. And I was like, my mind is just melting. I was like,
Yeah.
how is this a thing? And so I was like, okay, this sounds really cool, but it sounds too good to be true. And so I go and start researching on like Facebook groups and Googling other things, bigger pockets and stuff is like, is wholesaling actually legit? And so I find a local RIA Facebook group, just reach out to a random guy that I saw that was posting pretty actively, and it looked like he was selling deals. And so I just sent him a message. I was like, hey, bro, you don't know me, but I've been researching wholesaling a lot, and I just want to know that if this is real. Like, can you show me a receipt that you actually made money doing this? Didn't know what a closing statement was or a HUD. Like, I
Yeah.
just called it a receipt.
Yep.
And so
Receipt. I love it. Show me your
he
receipts.
yeah. And so he messaged me back maybe a day or two later And he's like, "Hey, dude, like I totally get it. Like I was the same way, but yeah, I just sold a piece of land in Garner, neighboring town. He's like, I made 20 grand. Here's the receipt, newbie." And sent me the PDF, and I was like, "Whoa, this dude actually made $20,000 like in a couple days. Like
And he
this is
dissed me at the
crazy." And
same time,
so
calling me a noob. I love it.
yeah, yeah. And so I just went head first and consumed as much content as I possibly could, like all the podcast, all of the YouTube videos, the books, everything that I could get my hands on to just like I've got to get up to speed, right? And I like to call myself a learn it all. I always want to know
Yes.
as much as possible, so I can explain it to somebody else. I feel like that's when you really know a topic. And so I'm just consuming as much as I possibly can and watching a lot of Jerry's videos because obviously he was like the gateway drug into this space. And so it was maybe 2 or 3 weeks in is when I find Pace, and it was a wholesale hotline. So Pace and Brent and
Yeah.
Jamil,
Yeah.
and start digging into those, start networking with people in the side chat, and then find Pace's free group on Facebook with like 100+ thousand people in it. And so I jump in there, I'm learning stuff. And so I'm just taking action, right? Like making the phone calls, just kind of spinning my wheels, trying to figure this thing out. And so I actually meet one of my first and still current business partners there in the free group. His name's Scott, and he's a CPA by trade here in Raleigh. And so we had obviously different goals, right? He had more money than time. He was trying to buy his time back because he was just drowning in tax returns. And so I came to him and was like, "Look, man, I don't have much of either time or money, but I've got more time than you. Why don't you fund our marketing and I'll be the guy on the phone. I'll lock up the deals, I'll find the buyers and sell them, and then we'll just split the fees." And he's like, "That actually works perfect because I'm about to be like locked in my office for the next 2 months with all this
Nice.
taxes."
Tax season. Yeah.
And so we get started, and yeah, we get rolling. And so he was paying for some VAs, and so I would field the leads and go walk the houses, go to the appointments and stuff. And it took a little bit. It took, I think, 2 or 3 months when I linked up with him. And so it was probably about the whole time frame to get to my first deal was about 8 months, 7 or 8 months. And so got 5 or 6 properties under contract. They fell apart for all the reasons, right? I either locked it up too high, um, the buyers backed out for no reason, or they weren't legitimate buyers, seller lied about something, like all the things that people go through. But it was just like thing over thing over thing over thing.
Yeah.
And so, but I'm grateful for it because it made me build up that thick skin and like resiliency to like continue to push forward. And so we finally got that first deal done. It was like a piddly deal. I think me and him split like 3 grand. It was hardly anything. I don't even
Yeah.
think it covered the VAs, but it was proof of concept that we
Yeah.
actually
Proof
made
of
money.
concept. There you go.
And so we're like, yep. So like we can do this. This is real. And so we doubled down. We kept using the VAs and cold calling. Then we picked up direct mail, and it was maybe 2 or 3 weeks later, I got a call from like our first mail drop, and a lady was out of state, had their family home was just like overrun. Somebody had broken in, stolen all the copper. Like really sad story.
Jeez.
Um, but it ended up being still to this day my most profitable and the easiest deal I've ever done. Like all in, maybe an hour and a half worth of work, and we made $49,000 on the assignment.
Wow.
Got it. Okay. Yeah. So that was the easiest deal and the most profitable deal that we had done to date. And we made 49 grand in about 3 weeks. And that deal kind of broke my brain to the opportunity that was here, right? The possibilities. Because that's like
Yeah.
th 2/3 of my yearly salary I made in less than a month.
I was gonna say,
And
it's good money.
yeah, it was crazy. And so and that was a big like unlock for my wife too. Because there was definitely some pushback of like, dude, you're spending so much time driving to these houses and like just wasting all this gas and
Yeah.
on the phone constantly, and like I'm not seeing anything
Yeah.
come of it. Like and not even so much like I need to see money in the bank to know like why are you wasting this time, but she was like concerned for me just putting in so much effort for a
Yeah.
waste,
Of
right? And
course.
so that was a really cool day to come home with that, and I didn't say anything. I just left it on the kitchen table, and we were just chatting like I got home from work or whatever, go and make a latte real quick. And I was like, I think a book came for you or something. Like I had the mail and I left it
Subtle
like
drop.
just yeah, like sitting out. And she was like, "Holy crap. Like, is this yours?" And I was like, "Yep." And I was like, this is why I'm working so hard because this is what's possible.
What's possible.
That was kind of like the unlock for her. And then she was like, all right, like go do your thing. And
That's
so
so good.
we continued to wholesale for a little bit longer, just like following up with deals in the pipe. And then maybe 3 or 4 months after that, we got our first opportunity for a flip. And so um, Scott, my partner, he had a HELOC already pulled on his house, kind of sitting, waiting in the wings. He wanted to buy a rental property just for the passive income. And so this deal we actually nurtured for like 6 months. It was one of the first leads we got when we started cold calling. But at the time, the numbers just didn't make sense. I couldn't get him any lower. Um, and it was like right on the cusp of being a deal. I'm like, we might be able to sell this, but we might not. And for me personally, like I absolutely hate locking up deals that I can't sell and have to
Yeah.
renegotiate. Like
Yeah.
it's the worst. And so we just kind of let it simmer through the holidays. This is early into the next year. And so all this time frame is like late 21 into 22, right? The COVID boom where values are just
Through the
flying.
roof. Yeah.
And so I reconnect with this seller. I think the last time I talked to him was in November. I call him back. It's like mid-February, and checking in with him. His name is Davey. I was like, "What's up, Davey? Like, it's been a little bit. Like, you still have that house?" He's like, "I've been waiting for you to call me. Like, I'm ready to sell." And I'm like, okay, like where are you at your price? I was like, I'm still at my price. If you can do that, then I'll sell it to you right now. And I was like, looking at the values and the amount that ARV had went up was like over 100,000 for that house. So now this was like a banger deal.
Yeah.
And so we locked it up right then and there. And then I called Scott and I was like, look, dude, so we could either wholesale this, make a quick 30, 40 grand, or we could potentially flip it and make about 100. It's your money. What do you want to do? I'm hyped with either
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
Like we're making good
I'm making
profit on
money.
this. And so he's like, dude, let's freaking flip it. Let's go. And I was like,
Nice.
all right. So we did it. We ran into all the
All the
newbie
problems.
flipper mistakes. Yeah, we had a tenant problem. We had um contractors, just issues with them. We lucked out. Our GC is actually one of Scott's clients. Like he runs his books for him.
Nice.
And so we knew he was honest. We knew he could do his thing, and he only works with investors, which that was a huge blessing. And so he was kind of training us as we were learning. But we still had some delays, some issues with getting materials there. Went way over budget, like all the general mistakes. But we didn't quite make 100 grand. I think we ended up clearing like a little over 60, but still like screw
Proof
it
of
up
concept.
completely and still make a real like a lot
Yeah.
of money. And yeah, again, proof of concept. So now we've added one more thing to our toolbox. And so ever since then, it's been kind of a steady kind of snowball effect. Like we still wholesale a handful of deals. We're doing flips, 2 to 4 at a time now. And now we've transitioned solely into buying creatively rather than cash. And then started to buy the rentals and do the thing. So it's been a journey, but it's been really rewarding.
So when did this journey start? Just to put a timestamp around when you
So it's
from what you
2021.
2021. Okay. So after COVID, you met Scott, you started kind of doing the wholesaling deal. Now, where were you guys finding your leads? Where were you guys sourcing those and making all these calls and things like that?
Yeah. So we would pull lists from PropStream, just stack list, hired landlords, um, like absentee owners, a lot of absentee out of state owners, which is really good for us. And so we would just pull large lists and then we would send them to VAs. So they would do the initial outreach calls, schedule appointments for me in the afternoon, like around my lunch break, then I could get on the call. And then once we had somebody kind of on the hook, then I'd go out and meet them at the property and
Nice.
we'd lock it up and then sell it. And so we did that for a while and then we transitioned into direct mail and then eventually got away from the VAs altogether and just did direct mail. And that was for the longest time, that was our highest ROI as far as marketing.
Direct mail.
Yeah. And so the run up was slow. It took about 2 to 3 months before the pipeline was really full and just continued to grow month over month. But I think we were at 4 to 5x ROI
Nice.
for what we were spending to what we were making on the back end, whether it be a flip acquisition or a wholesale deal. So it
Okay.
was great.
Okay. So for those out there who don't know what a wholesale deal is, what does that look like, Adam, in layman's terms?
Yeah. So I would come to a distressed seller in some way or a tired landlord, right? A property that needs significant renovations. I can get that property under contract for a set price, let's say 100,000, where Trevor agrees to sell his house to me for $100,000. We put that under contract. We open escrow with a title company or an attorney. In North Carolina, we're an attorney state. And so we'll go and open escrow, and then I'm going to take that contract, that signed contract that I have to buy the house for 100,000, and I can go and sell that contract to another investor who wants to fix and flip that property for a set fee. And they're basically buying my rights to that contract. That's what the assignment is. And it's whatever that fee is that we agree upon. So if I take that contract from Trevor for $100,000, sell it to Bob, the flipper, for $130,000, I make the 30,000 in between.
Gotcha. Awesome. So that's where the flipping paper comes from. I've heard
Correct.
that a lot. So I wanted to put that into layman's terms for those out there that are like, man, how's Adam making 30 grand? Like connecting those people. And that's how I got
Yeah.
my first deal in all honesty too. I intended on wholesaling it. I was doing some transactional funding and I ran into somebody that was like, I don't need funding. I need help selling my mother-in-law's house. And I was like, okay, nurtured the lead. It was about 2.5, 3 months and was honestly afraid to make that initial lowball offer because I heard what they
Yeah.
wanted, which was 350. And I knew that's what they were going for fully fixed up. And I was like, there's no way this house is worth that. And my
Yeah.
offer was going to come in at like 210, 215. And I remember making that first offer after they begged me for an offer. And I was like, okay, I could probably buy your house for like 205 because clearly you never start with your highest and best.
Of course.
And of course, when I offered 205, they're like, oh, well, okay, we were hoping to get at least like 275. Now remember, they just told me they wanted 350 and they immediately dropped 75 grand. And I was like,
Yep.
what? Wait, what? And I was like, oh, well, I'm really sorry. And at the end of the day, like a week later, they came back and like, if you can meet us at 215, I think we could have a deal here. And I was like, okay, great. So
Yeah.
then I took it to my now partner, who I had kind of gotten connected with through this was still when I was in the free group and I had made a handful of connections and went to them and was like, here, I've got this deal. I need some help. Like, what do I do? And I got introduced to my partner and my intentions was to sell it to him. And his exact words were, I'm either your buyer or I'm your new partner. And I was like, what? What do you mean? Like I do funding.
Yeah.
And yeah, he was like, I can buy this deal off of you and you could make, 15, 25 grand, maybe somewhere in there. Like, and I still make a great killing, but he's like, or we could partner on this together and we could each make like 35. And I was like, okay. Watched enough HGTV. I kind of want to learn. And he's like, this will be your
Yeah.
easiest flip ever. I was like, okay. Couple months later, couple hurricanes later, good old, this is about this time last year is when we were getting close to getting under contract.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was like, all right, well, let's figure this out. So I still to this day have not technically wholesaled a property. However, that was my intention there. I fixed and flipped and done a
Yeah.
handful of others with him. But man, yeah, just to kind of hear your timeline and kind of hear your progression. And it sounds like you are still working your W-2, correct?
Yep.
With 3 kids or about to be 3 kids.
Soon to be
Oh,
four
three,
kids.
about to be four. That's right. You've got
Yeah.
three, you're about to be four.
Yeah.
How do you make enough time in the day, man? Like you already told us kind of your schedule to W-2, and it sounds
Yeah.
like you've got that pipeline, that marketing channel coming, and you use
Hmm.
VAs to almost kind of qualify or disqualify those leads to then know that you're spending your time at the highest and best of at least talking to people who at least want to sell their house. But
Yeah.
how do you I mean, how do you do your day? Like we're on the
Yeah.
same time zone. It's almost 10
Right.
o'clock at night and you're
Yeah.
here making time to do a podcast with me. Like walk me through how you itemize your day.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, I live and die by my calendar because I have to, right? It's if time is not set aside specifically for a certain task or for a meeting or something like that, it just doesn't get done because there are too many plates spinning. I didn't even mention it, but this coffee shop I'm sitting in, I also own this. So another venture that came through
We get it.
our real estate ventures. We bought this and we've been open for a little over a year, so that's been
Love
really
it.
fun. But um, but yeah, I mean, it's just being super disciplined with our calendar. And so obviously we have the non-negotiables, the family things, the church stuff, like those are just live-in spots on my calendar. Um, and then kind of build out the day. I know the flexibility that I have on a general day with my work day is I get there at 7 o'clock, but I don't really start work until 9 because that's when my other coworkers want to start work.
Yeah.
And then I'm normally done by 11:30 or noon,
Wow.
but I don't leave until 3:30 right? So I've got a 2 hour block in the morning, right?
Mhm.
When people are waking up. And then basically after lunch until I leave is wide open. And so, and any interim time, if I'm at my desk, I'm underwriting deals, I'm sending offers to agents, I'm buying materials for our flips. Like I'm capturing
Right.
every spare minute that I have and directing it to a money-making activity.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. And I and that as well with my calendar, as we both know, we have a similar mentor in that preaches by that. And because if you look at pace from the outside in, it's like, how does this guy have enough time to breathe, let alone take care of his family and run this multi-million dollar, real estate business? And it's truthfully, again, just that he makes time for the things that are on his calendar. He itemizes and he prioritizes and he lives and dies by it. And for a while, I kind of thought it was neurotic, but also I'm that same way with a lot of things in my life. And it also started to give me freedom when I was like, okay, I know what I'm doing, when I'm doing it. And I know my
Yeah.
wife looked at me weird when I started to get really consistent with it because I used to have my calendar for my W-2, but now I have my calendar that's like my W-2 as well as my entrepreneurial work as well as my family stuff. And
Yeah.
it's able now I don't get nearly as many questions from my wife of like, hey, what are you doing when? For a while it was like, well, just it's right there on my calendar. And I didn't mean that to be sarcastic, but it was more of like,
Right.
hey, like I have this there for my use, but also for ease of access for you too. So you know when and where. And it's just
Yeah.
become like this unwritten rule of like, all right, well, and it's just made things so much simpler. So yeah, like I was mentioning about the calendar, I mean, I love that you've again found a way to balance the importance of life, family, W-2, real estate, your church, because again, I do a lot of the same, and I value that time that I get with my family. It's important. I know we're doing money making activities and things that we have to do to survive and provide the life for our family. But I know I've been on many of those late night rabbit holes down the rabbit hole of watching different videos and things like that. Where did you finally realize that? I mean, it sounded like you tried a handful of things. Where did you finally settle in on like, wow, like real estate wholesaling, like this is for me. This is I speak my this is it's my language. Dude. Oh,
Dude,
I got the floor.
can you hear me?
I can hear you. I got the floor of your
Okay.
coffee shop.
Hold on. I got to shoot a text to this guy. He was blowing me up
You're good, man.
because I'm using my phone as my camera.
You're
Where
good. We
is
can
it?
wrap up pretty quick because I know you probably have something else too. And
Oh,
I know this
yeah.
is,
Well, we were just getting into it, but it's
I
dang
know,
Zoom.
I
We'll have to
know.
do a part two.
I am sure this is mine, which is interesting that this is the first time that I've run into this, but I am sure this is my which is
Yeah.
crazy. It's like 10 o'clock at night. Nobody's using freaking Wi-Fi, but
All
had this
right.
before. So not on
It's all,
Zoom, but it's all good.
yeah, it's all good.
Oh, what did I say? What did I say?
Calendar, importance of calendar. And then you were saying,
Oh,
oh, why real estate?
yeah. So why after all the things you tried, and I was the same thing. I mean, I'm a healthcare professional that tried to convince my wife I should go do like digital marketing and stuff that I had no idea what I was doing, but I got on one sales call and this guy told me I could do it from home and I could make six figures. Why real estate? Why did that finally click in your head?
Yeah, well, I think it went back to 7, 8 years ago when I was a photographer. I was just always fascinated with the process, um, specifically of like taking something that's kind of just looked over, right? Like ugly house on the side of the road, and then turning it into something beautiful that somebody's gonna make memories with their family. That was super rewarding, um, that piece of it. But as I got into the conversations, the situations that these sellers are in, the problem solving aspect of real estate is what I'm most passionate about, right? Every deal might have similarities, but nothing is the exact same. And so that really kind of scratches that itch in my creative brain, of like, how do we pull the levers? How do we build this puzzle to make a win-win for both parties? And at the end of the day, the bigger problems we solve, the more money we make. And That's a huge piece. And then also to see the impact that we make in these families' lives. Like that deal that I was mentioning, $49,000 assignment fee. That lady cried on my shoulder at the closing table because I took this massive burden off of her shoulders. Like they didn't know what they were going to do. And so yeah, I made a lot of money in that situation, but like the value that I was able to provide to that family is why I deserve to make what I made, right?
Yep.
And so now as we get into to new asset classes and buying long-term rentals and specifically focusing on sober living where I can actually make a physical impact in our community for people that really need the help while also still doing well for my family, like it's just
Yeah.
I haven't found another vehicle for wealth creation, the time freedom, and the impact compared to real estate.
I love that, man. And I love what you talked about. The bigger problems we solve, the more money we can make. And it's pulling those different levers. I think as a young kid, I wanted to be an engineer. And I love the term that we've come up and kind of coined in this community of like a deal engineer, of
Yeah,
truly figuring out how to make things work. Whereas you're a traditional real estate broker, agent, mortgage license, mortgage loan originator, you've got a couple of tools.
yeah,
That's it. But the creative side of this is what's always interested me the most is like, oh, a deal is what we make it. Like a
yeah,
deal is what problem you need to solve, not just, oh, you need to sell it for this price. Well, this is what retail tells me it's for. Like, that's all I can do. That's all I can offer you. That's all this appraisal will offer. Well, what if I just take over your mortgage? What about if we did that and eliminate all these other fees and things? And it's just so cool to get to use, to me, the full extent of my brain
yeah,
versus just one tiny little sliver of like, this is the traditional way to do it. Well,
yeah,
what if I just open the floodgates and we, still
yeah.
operate within the legal bounds? We're still
Of
operating with
course.
title companies and attorneys and things like that. But
Yeah,
what if, one plus one doesn't always equal two?
yeah. The world, at least in this space, a lot of people really just anything related to finance. It's always black and white, but we live in the gray. And so, which most of the world is in the gray, right?
Yeah.
And so it's like, why does it have to be this way or no way? Like, let's actually create win-win solutions. They do exist.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have to win for you to lose, right? There are ways that we can make this be beneficial for both of us. Let's actually put our heads together and think outside the box to see how we can get to that solution that makes sense for both of us. And it's possible. Um, and that's what, yeah, it's super exciting to learn those new strategies and kind of see people like that switch get flipped in their brain. And it's like, oh, I didn't even know that you could do something like this,
Yeah.
right? And it's like been right under their nose their whole life. And just like, if I would have known this when I was 20 years old, man,
Yep.
right? It's
Yep.
crazy.
And I think you said another good thing was the relief that some of these people that like they're just under this burden of whether it be a monthly payment of a home that they can't afford anymore, or, you know, they fell on hard times, there's a death in the family, there's a divorce, and all of a sudden you think, we run these lists of those types of homes, but really it's like how can we help those people? How can you and it's truly rewarding, especially somebody again coming from healthcare that was inpatient care. It's like I want to help people at the end of the day. And I used to think
Yeah.
healthcare was the only way to do that and make
Hmm.
money. And I was kind of locked into this box of this is how much money you can make. You had to work these hours. I don't mind working outside of those hours, but if I'm going to be, compensated for it. And now I found somebody that I can still help people, maybe in an even more important way or in a different way, a financial way. But also again, solving those problems and again, total unlock of how much money you can make is obviously a big, nobody's in this for charity at the same time. It's still a business. We still got to support our families.
Hmm.
But yeah, I love how you mentioned a couple of those things and how you kind of tied them all together from, at least in my mind.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and it's also like I do want to make an impact too, right? I want to be able to be charitable, and
Yeah.
you can't do that without money, right? Like money at the end of the day is a tool. That is still a way that we can measure our impact is the money I make, right? Like we haven't really got into it. I don't know if we will on this call, but like in Owners Club, we have this Mount Everest, right? This big goal we're chasing. And for me personally, mine is I want to provide safe and affordable housing for 1,250 people transitioning out of recovery, all while netting $100,000 a month. And so 1,250 people with safe and secure housing, that's big impact.
Yeah.
And like the 100,000 is more of a vanity metric, but also how much more impact can I do if I'm bringing in 100K a month?
Yeah.
Right? Like I can go build wells in Africa. I can go build churches. I can sponsor missions trips. I can do other things just in my general community
Yeah.
that I couldn't otherwise if I'm not making that money. So it's not that I want to make all this money so I can hoard it for myself. It's just
Yeah.
I want to be able to put it into things that I really believe in and be able to provide that value to others.
It's so good, dude. And I used to think that all real estate was either real estate agents or real estate investors. And the only thing I knew about real estate investors, I was like, well, they're just in it to get rich. Like, of course, they just want to, go buy a yacht and do this. But ultimately, especially this community that I've met, I haven't met one person that's like, I want to make more money so I can go buy expensive things. I've never
Yeah.
ever once heard that. And I have the same goals. I grew up again, not poor, but not rich. And it was just like, I want more money so I can help more people, so I can give more back to the church, so I can give more back to the people in my community that don't have it. Like my son is out with his first job at 8, so he can go give money to kids who have cancer. Like, and I'm like,
Wow.
wait, what? Like, and that's from examples that we as parents set for our kids.
Yeah.
Otherwise, how else did they learn it? They didn't learn that in school. I can promise you that. They didn't learn that from their friends. Like,
Yeah, for
and it
sure.
it, it just gives you a reality check of like, all right, why am I doing this? It's for my family. I'm set an example, and I think you're the epitome of that with what you just said of yeah, I want to make $100,000 a month, and I'm not afraid to say it, but I'm not afraid to say why behind it too. So many people would hear that and be like, oh, he wants to be a millionaire. Yeah, he wants to be a millionaire so he can give it away. Like
Right.
he wants to impact the world we live in and leave it a better place than what he came into it. And I absolutely love that, Adam. And you're right. I don't think we'll get into a lot of the other stuff on this call. But I would love to set up another one with you at some point and get a little
Absolutely.
bit deeper into that. But man, yeah, is there anything that you want to share with our listeners? Obviously, how they can get a hold of you. Obviously, if they're in the Raleigh Durham area, if they're a newbie trying to get that first deal and see your receipts, how can they reach out to you? How can they contact you?
Yeah, absolutely. Instagram's the best way. It's at the Adam Colburn. My YouTube channel's the same. I also have a podcast that I've interviewed this handsome man a few months ago, and so you can check out that episode there. If you're working on any deals or you want to join a team, you can go to adamsbuybox.com, schedule a call, see if we might be a good fit. But yeah, shoot me a message on Instagram, tell me Trevor sent you, and I'll take the best care of you.
There you go. All of that will be in the show notes down below. The Adam Colburn, you guys heard it here on Instagram. And also you said adamsbuybox.com. That's your landing
That's right.
page. We'll
Yes,
put that in
sir.
there as well. And yeah, absolutely. I'm looking forward to another round of this, seeing this guy again in October in Arizona, hopefully. And many, many years to come. I have a good feeling. So,
Love it, brother. Thanks again for having me.
all right, man. Have a great evening. See ya.